This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Danny, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me through this journey. We'd like to thank and acknowledge our executive producers, Brandy and Aaron Kirkwood, Andre the Man in White, Chad Welsh, Sean McGuire, and Ricky Morissette. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Sama Nasai and Ashley Varga to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. It really means a lot to us and we appreciate it. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 44 and 45 of The Fires of Heaven.
Yeah, so chapter 44 is The Lesser Sadness, and chapter 45 is After the Storm.
Yeah, cool.
And boy, things escalate quickly in these chapters.
Oh my god, they escalate and then de-escalate.
Zip zap and we're done.
That's it.
We did it, boys.
Wow.
And the ladies.
And there's still like 100 pages at least left in this book.
We get time for all sorts of things.
Oh my god.
Killing other people, doing other stuff.
Maybe checking in on some other characters.
You never know.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's really exciting.
There's definitely time for another Forsaken battle.
There is time.
Yeah.
There's so much time for things, and I've been waiting for these chapters because, like, they're pretty great.
Yeah,
so.
I do have to tell you and the people. I think you already know this, but when Tyler was like, hey, I want to be a guest, and I usually say, oh, what chapters do you like? What do you want to be on? And he was like, I want to be on for chapters 43 and 45. Those are really good ones.
Yeah.
And I looked at the page numbers, and I was like, how about
not those ones?
Like 37 and 38 or something else. And he went, okay. But he made the best of it, and we had lots of fun with him. And I can see why he wanted these chapters. I was a little bit concerned because Tyler only ever wants Perrin chapters.
Okay. So you're like, oh, Perrin.
Yeah, I wasn't, concerned is the wrong word, because at this point I actually wouldn't mind finding out.
Oh, you've had enough distance from Perrin that you can take some Perrin again.
Yeah, I want to know. I'm just too curious.
Okay. Well, we got 100 pages.
What's going on with that guy? So when Tyler was like, oh, I want to be on for 43, 45, I was like, oh, is it Perrin?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's better than that. It's wild. It's wild.
I gotta contain myself here because of all the things that happen. So
it's true. And now lots and lots of pages, lots of content. So I say we get into it.
Okay, so let's get to it.
Okay.
This fun fact is a funny one because we kind of get introduced to a brand new Aiel game, sort of.
Okay.
And it's a little bit fuzzy because we're not exactly sure what they're doing, but the one I'm talking about is in the celebration. They have that pole erected that has the severed head attached to it by a cord.
Right, but that's like 10 feet in the air.
Exactly. Okay, so we're going to talk about the head thing later, but for this game where the Aiel are jumping up really high and doing like flips and trying to kick, it's a little fuzzy whether or not they're trying to kick the head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, what? No.
Oh, I know.
No, I didn't get that. I prefer not.
I'm gonna argue on the side that they definitely are trying to actually kick the head.
I would prefer if they weren't.
Okay.
I thought you were going to tell me that they were going to like play tetherball.
With the head?
With the head on the...
Is that worse than... You're better than
that's
kicking
worse.
it?
It's all the same.
Okay, it's all... Okay.
It's...
Anyways.
I don't know, but it's the same.
This competition, the way they're like performing it, is probably based on a real life thing, minus the severed head part.
Oh.
Just pretend there's a ball on that cord instead of a severed head.
Okay.
Now, this is probably based on a real competition, and it's actually an event included in the World Eskimo Indian Olympics and the Arctic Winter Games and a few others, and it's called the high kick, which can be either 1- or 2-footed, or the Alaskan high kick. So, this competition, the 1-footed competition, is where the competitor stands on 1 foot, and they jump in the air and hit a ball or a piece of seal, which is suspended from a pole or a frame, and then they land on the same foot. So the 1-foot high kick tests the strength and agility of the hunter, and it used to be used, and is sometimes still used as a signal of a successful hunt in some communities.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the 2-footed competition is where you use 2 feet, and you must jump up and then touch a hanging target with both feet, and then land on both feet, maintaining your balance. And this event is often considered the most demanding Arctic sport. And this one with the 2 feet has its origins in subsistence whale hunting. So when a whale was taken, a messenger would run to the village and kick both feet in the air once they were within eyeshot, and that would cue the villagers to know that they have to go and prepare the harvest for the whale. So it's like a communication signal.
Okay.
And then the last version is the Alaskan high kick, where you balance on one foot while you're holding the other, and then you kick a target straight above with the balancing foot to reach the target, and then land on the balancing and kicking foot.
Yeah.
So it's like all crazy athletic stuff.
Uh-huh.
So this is the tricky part, because the only record I could find was for the 2-footed version, which is the harder of
for like
the
how
ones.
high
for
someone
how high
can kick?
people can kick.
Okay.
So assuming that the 1-footed versions you can go higher. Just in my mentality,
Yes.
I think that I could kick higher with 1 foot than both feet.
Okay.
So the record for the 2-foot high kick, the men's record as of 2007, was 8 feet and 8 inches in the air.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's with 2 feet, and the women's record was 6 feet 6 inches.
Crazy.
So with 1 foot, 10 feet, not impossible, I don't think. So
Maybe, but the cord is hanging down.
yeah, exactly.
So even if it's like a 2-foot cord,
yeah,
like it's
so that's
possible, I guess, but I still don't love that. And I do have to tell you, everything you're saying, I already know.
Awesome. Okay.
I took a course when I was doing my phys ed degree.
Yeah.
Called Indigenous Games.
Okay.
And
was it accurate enough for you?
yeah, oh yeah. But I've done this. Like we played it where
Okay.
and the thing that jogged my memory was the jumping and kicking and landing on the same foot.
Right. Okay.
I remember that. And it's
Okay.
very difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. I would. Not with a severed head,
And I
though.
also thought, and we should start the episode soon, but I thought you were going to start talking about, the movie Dodgeball.
Sure.
And how Dodgeball started by people throwing severed heads at each other.
Which is like maybe true.
Like probably very inaccurate. But I thought you were going to tell me the origins of Tetherball or so, like the children's playground game.
Oh, yeah.
Is like banging around a severed head.
Yeah.
Which would be funny.
Okay.
Well, like funny.
Is that worse than the IEL trying to kick the severed head of the enemy lead? Like, I don't know what
We've
to
already talked about that. It's
all
not worse,
bad.
it's
Okay.
the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
I want to talk about this.
Okay, so last time we were here, the Battle of Kyrien had already started.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
Okay.
We were getting into it. We started the battle. Matt tried to get away, but the pattern wouldn't let him get very far.
Yes.
So Rand, Avienda, and Egwene were up on a tower channeling to help out the battle situation.
Yeah, they were getting things going.
Okay, so we get into chapter 44, The Lesser Sadness, and our chapter symbol's the dragon.
Yeah.
Cool. So we enter in our Rand perspective. He's still up on the tower doing his channeling thing with Avienda and Egwene. He's all sweaty from working really hard the whole morning. From where the sun is right now, it's still about an hour till noon.
Yeah, so you totally picked up on the clues of, or the cues.
How much time
exactly
it's been.
for each perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he's already super tired from the amount of channeling he's done, and he knows it's going to go on for a long time longer.
Yeah, but 1 day, so
Yeah,
I mean,
which
that in
seems
itself.
like for the largest battle we've ever seen in 1,000 years,
Sure.
you would expect it to go on longer than a day.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. I don't know
Because
enough about...
the Aiel War was for sure more than 1 day. The Aiel got from the spine of the world to Kyrien to the slopes of Dragon Mount near Carvalin. It was long and hard fought, and so many armies from all over the place came to support.
Yeah, so a little bit different, obviously, because this is just Rand pushing Couladin away from the walls of Kyrien, so...
It's just I guess the pure number of people, I would have assumed...
Yeah. Well, again, that's
bigger.
the whole thing, is not everyone's dead.
No.
The Shadow are definitely not all dead.
No.
Just specific people are dead, so...
That's true. Okay, so Egwene and Avienda are still at it as well, but they're taking turns channeling because they're both also very tired.
Yeah, and Rand's stronger than both, and he's already pushing it, and so they must be pretty tired too. And it's not even noon yet, so...
Right. So he thinks to himself, would be nice if I had somebody to trade off with.
Yeah.
But then he's like, well, there's no way I'm trusting Asmodean to take,
Yeah,
his
it's a good
part
call.
in this.
And hypothetically could even help because he can't channel right now
Very much. Yeah, no way. 5 miles away.
And it's is Rand going to take his block off? No.
No, I don't even
Let's
know if
not do
Rand
that.
knows how to do that. So
Yeah.
Rand looks through the looking glass, the telescope, to see what's going on. He can see Aiel fighting each other everywhere. Sometimes there's like groups of 1,000 or like 5,000. They're all fighting each other. He can't find the column of horse and pike.
Yeah.
But he's seen them like 3 different times in the morning.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he can tell Matt's leading them.
He definitely can't, because we get that confirmation later on. But This is also a big hint. It's like a little clue, rather, I'll say, because we don't actually know from last chapter.
Yeah, it sort of ended in the middle of their first sort of attack or ambush. Yeah.
Well, again, we didn't know if that was all of the like Randlanders, like the Wetlanders too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's starting to seem like, that's all of them.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted, because we weren't sure last time, and now it's a lot more sure.
Okay. So there's also a big fight happening around like Kyrianan City.
Yes.
Like around the gates.
Yep.
The army in the city is fighting Aiel there too.
That's
and then we
good.
get hints of like arrows coming down from the walls, and also these occasional spears like from before.
So it's really good that Kyrian, like the city, is pushing to attack
defending
now.
itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're pushing to attack.
Yeah.
And they're not just hiding behind the walls anymore.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay, so Rand goes back to channeling, but this time he's using what Egwene and Aviendha have set up. So he is using their storm clouds that are already there.
Yeah, he's using the weather system.
And although he can't like feel or see their weaves, he knows they're there.
Yeah.
So I guess this is what Asmodean has been sort of teaching him. Remember when he like demanded to be taught about that?
Yes.
So maybe that's a little hint.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good pickup.
So he starts creating lightning. Now, unfortunately, it also looks like Rand is killing Aiel on both sides.
Yeah, this is bad.
But he knows it has to be done.
I guess so. I mean, that's the tricky part, right?
Yeah.
Is how do you just target the enemy lines when they're like clashing and...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
For sure. And so lightning slashes out of like clear sky above the tower all of a sudden. And so Rand, Egwene, and Aviendha are still up there. They're like, what's going on? And then more lightning starts striking down like into the maidens below them. And so Rand is like, what the F is going on?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, did you have to do a double take on this? Because
I didn't
writing...
know what the heck was happening.
Yeah, because the writing of Rand doing the lightning is so close to the lightning coming down on the maidens.
I was like, is he messing up?
Yeah.
Like, is he so tired that he doesn't really know what he's doing? Like, that's kind of what it seemed like at first.
Which is, like, totally possible because he's already, like, pretty drained. But that's not what's happening from...
No.
Because it mentions out of the, like, clear sky above them, so...
And he can feel that it is a Sidene weave.
Yes, and he thinks that it's Asmodean.
Yes, and then bolt after bolt, finally, like, striking the base of the tower... starting to knock it down.
Yeah.
And I thought, even though Rand thinks it's Asmodean, I was like, there's no way he's strong enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless Lanfear, like, literally showed up during this to release Asmodean from his bonds. But this isn't a Lanfear move.
That's not part of the plan either.
Because this is, like, very dangerous for Rand right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not a Lanfear move. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
She doesn't want him dead right now.
No, it does seem like she is orchestrating the, like, Samael attack.
Maybe. Well, I gotta ask about that too, because is this actually Samael?
Right.
It's coming from the west. We figured that out later, and Samael isn't necessarily to the west, but we do know another one of those 4 is to the west.
Ravine.
Yeah.
Right?
He's in Camelin. But it's like, what's the distance on that too? So...
yeah.
It's tough to say who's actually doing this.
Yeah. Okay. So the tower starts to slant over. Rand grabs Egwene and Aviendha in like one arm and wraps his other arm around like a post to keep them all together as the tower falls over.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I've got 2 mental images of it. One is the wrong one, which is him being like Tarzan and scooping up the women in one and like swinging away on a vine.
Yes.
And the other one is probably more accurate, where he just basically hugs them and hugs the pole in the middle to like prevent them from all being launched off in different directions.
You know what? I pictured, because they're like slanting.
Yeah.
I pictured almost like a Titanic situation where he's like holding on to a post.
Yeah, like with like the one arm.
But like above him.
Okay.
Like a railing, but they're now sideways.
So it's like a Yeah, I get that too. You know what? Those ones are more accurate than the Tarzan image.
Definitely. Yes.
But, I could totally go for some, like, Phil Collins soundtrack on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He went really hard on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. So the tower's falling over, crashing into the trees around it, and Rand hits the ground and is knocked unconscious.
Yes.
So
they land on top of him, too, sort of.
It's all
bad.
not really sure. So
through the trees.
Rand slowly comes back into consciousness, and I'm like, okay, what's just happened? This is chaos.
Yeah.
Did he just kill all the maidens? Did they all just get crushed under this tower?
Some did.
Yeah, I know.
It's all bad. Like, this scene, it's really bad.
Yes, it's not good.
Yeah, and it's not as graphic as it could have been.
No, not at all. It's
but
it's almost
really
like
bad.
Not graphic at all, to the point of confusing.
Confusing, like, is everyone dead? No, it's like half the people are dead.
But, like, we're just not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
So he hears Avienda's voice, and she's talking to him and, like, brushing his face.
She's saying some pretty heartfelt stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, she thinks he's dead.
Dying. Heartfelt for Avienda.
Yeah.
As in, like, I'm going to hand you back to Elaine, even if it's your dead body.
I'm going to bring you back to Elaine. Yeah. But he also needs to wake up. So then he actually wakes up, and he knows he can't die now. He's hurting pretty bad from all of this, and still super tired from channeling. Plus, now the tower's crashed down.
Oh, man.
So
Plus.
Oh, yeah. His half-healed wound is broken open.
Yeah.
But he's not bleeding too badly.
It's not that bad.
He thinks.
And that's the problem, is, like, this is a really slippery slope into a decline of Rand this chapter.
Oh, yeah.
That clearly has bad consequences. Like, by the end, his last scene in this chapter is crazy.
Yeah. I know, we'll get to it.
Okay.
I got some thoughts.
Okay.
I have some thoughts on this.
Some opinions.
Yeah. So he hides his wound so nobody tries to haul him off to Moraine, because he's like, I got work to do still. Yeah. So finally he takes a look at what's happened all around him, and Sulin is nearby. Egwene is bandaging her head. And everywhere there are maidens tending to the wounded and pulling blankets over the dead.
Yep.
And he thinks he's done a terrible job of keeping the maidens safe.
Yeah. And the key line here is, the log tower, all but unrecognizable now, had not spared the maidens in its fall. So it's, like, really bad.
Yeah.
Maidens got crushed too, for sure.
For sure. So Rand feels and traces out the weaves that attacked them here.
Yeah.
And they lead west and not back to the tents, which is, like, interesting that he has this ability.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I knew that this was a thing that could happen, but it happened.
Yeah,
so.
feeling weaves is kind of new territory for us.
After they've been done.
Yeah, like traces of the weaves.
Traces of it. Like, it seems like detective work.
A little bit.
And I just didn't know that this was something. It's like, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Here's how we let the reader know this wasn't Asmodean for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's also a lot of implications too, because of people can read the residue of weaves,
and it's
if you want to call that.
Can people or can Rand?
That's a good question.
Can women or can men? Is it just a Sidene thing, or can,
See, now you're thinking, and the whole Sidene and Sidar are different.
Yeah, I know that.
I know you know it now, but you didn't really believe it before, so. But now I know that you know that that's how it works.
I don't really know how any of it works, actually.
Yeah, you just, like, put your feelers out, and you can feel the weaves.
Yeah, okay, maybe. But we know this was not Asmodean, and Rand thinks Samael.
Must be.
And so Rand takes a step as if to, like, go off to find Samael right now.
Yeah.
And Avienda and Egwene are super quick to be like, nope, don't be a stupid moron.
Yep. That's good. Good on them. So.
Well, sort of, because then Avienda's like, yeah, good idea. So a young Aiel comes running up with a message through all of this.
Yeah.
And is like, Han of some other group of Aiel?
Yeah, the Tomanel.
Okay, yeah.
So he's one of the three, because remember, half of Rand's army was split into three groups. One was to guard the river. Yeah. The other two were to basically jockey between the four Aiel clans.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so where's Han?
So Han is joining with Derek and Aram. Han was originally supposed to guard the river.
Okay.
To make sure that Couladin didn't run off along the river to force them over the bridge.
Okay. So Han is sending word that the clans to the east are moving towards each other, and I wrote, who is Han?
Yeah.
I skipped over it all. I had no idea.
Yeah. So basically what's happening is the three groups are joining together now because the four clans are moving towards each other.
Because they see all this fighting happening.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, we're not moving, but like we also kind of want to be in position.
So the three groups are like moving closer together so that if the four clans do attack, at least they're not totally overwhelmed and they can buy some more time. And that's why Rand kind of spirals a little bit about, oh my god, what happens if the four clans attack me? But then he also realized if they're going to attack, they'd probably just attack, not like join together, because that just serves as a warning. So it's all weird, and we don't know exactly what's going on.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put this entire episode.
Yeah.
This whole everything that's happening.
Yeah. The big issue...
It's all weird and we have no idea what's going on.
The big issue is that one group isn't going to be near the river to make sure Couladin's forces get forced over to the north side of the river.
Okay.
Okay.
If you say so.
Yeah.
So, with the tower broken down now, Rand asks for his horse. And Egwene isn't a fan of this. And she thinks he's going after Samael, but he's like, no, I just want to get closer to the city to keep channeling. And so Avienda's like, cool, let's go get your horse. And Rand feels bad about using people again. And I think he's being a little bit of a sneaky liar.
Yeah.
So.
Probably.
I mean, like, maybe also that. Like, yes, I'll go closer because I can't channel now that I don't have the tower. Like, I can't channel all the way there. So if I get closer.
Maybe I can do something.
And if I find Samael along the way.
Yeah. Who knows what happens?
Who knows?
Or like, Couladin or whatever happens.
Or whatever happens. Now, Sulin comes up with like a bandage around her head, and Rand tells her he's moving closer to the city where he can see what's going on, so anyone injured should remain here, and he'll take a small force of maidens with him.
Yeah, this is hilarious. So Sulin's like the leader of them too?
Yes, clearly, yeah. And he tries to tell her to stay, but she's like, no, I'm not injured, I'm coming.
Yeah. I am not the injured one here.
Clearly.
This head bandage is something different.
It's just different. I'm only nothing.
Yeah.
Don't even look. And so she goes off to gather other maidens, and he's like, make sure no one comes with me because it'll only slow me down. And she's like, got it.
Yeah.
Everyone
no other injured people.
Everyone but me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then Sorelia comes by with a bunch of other wise ones to tend to the injured while they're all like getting ready to go. Egwene makes a comment about Rand barely being able to mount his horse, which is very funny writing.
Yeah.
Because Rand thinks to himself, I got up here, even though it hurt me.
Yeah.
I did it very well.
Yeah.
To the point where no one will notice.
And Egwene's like, oh, that looks bad.
And Egwene was like, you're barely able to get up there yourself. And so like Rand did not do a good job of like stealthily getting up here.
Yeah. But apparently she shouldn't be one to talk, so...
That's fair.
Yeah.
So Rand's like, I noticed you're having some problems too. Do you want to just like chill here with the wise ones, or are you coming?
Yeah. We didn't really talk about it though, but Rand's whole mentality for these last like 2 pages is the fact that he's trying to protect the maidens, and his whole thing about not bringing injured maidens is because he cannot and will not order a woman to her death, and that was that.
Okay. Which is like annoying.
Yeah. I was going to say bad.
Chivalrous.
Sure.
But annoying.
Yeah, and like kind of stupid.
And also like, if they're injured,
yeah,
they really could be a liability.
Yeah. No, I get where it's like, hey, don't bring your injured troops, but he's not doing it.
That's not what he's doing.
Yeah, he's doing it because he's saying, oh, I need to protect as many of the women because they're women that I can.
I
and
know.
This is an out.
I know.
So, but I love the fact that this like giant character flaw, that I'm going to call it that, is like written really well into Rand as a character.
Yeah.
Because it's very consistent.
Oh, yes.
And we see the development of that thought process.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he even thinks like, oh, I did such a good job protecting these women.
Yeah.
And it's like, how could you have protected them in this situation?
Exactly.
Yeah. He thinks like, oh, I kept them out of the battles. They're like literally standing in circles around the base of this tower for nothing.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, maybe it didn't do such a good job, but no time for that now. I'm going to keep doing what I was doing before.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So off they all go, and Rand is thinking, whatever Samael is trying to accomplish here, I still have my own job to do.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
His job being like, defeat the Shido?
Yeah.
Okay.
Couldn't.
Don't get distracted by Samael.
By Samael right now. Yeah. So then we get a perspective change. to Matt. And I really like this back and forth because it jumps the day and battles forward.
It does.
So we get like what Rand's doing away from the inside of the battles, and we get what Matt's doing in the middle of all the fighting.
It's fantastic. Plus, like you said, it moves the day along.
Yes. So we're back with Matt and his new crew of soldiers.
Yeah.
There's been a bit of a time jump, and we saw him last time when he was like charging into those Aiel.
Yep.
And we get a clue that it's probably the middle of the afternoon now.
Yeah. So it was like early morning start.
Yeah.
And then Rand an hour before noon and he was already wiped out.
Yep.
And then Matt in the middle of the afternoon. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Matt's looking around through his little spyglass and he's trying to find a way out for his soldiers. Mostly because he wants a way out. Like, he doesn't stop thinking that the entire time.
Yeah.
Even though we know.
Thoughts versus actions.
And it's almost like he knows.
He knows, but he's not going to admit that.
And this is very consistent with Matt.
I love it in his
thinking
character.
One thing, doing another. Inside Matt's head, he's a terrible person.
Sure.
He's awful.
Yeah.
Like, just the worst.
But he can't be held responsible for everything that goes through his brain.
Fair, because his actions.
Yeah, his actions are. It kind of sounds funny.
What a fantastic person he really is.
Well, and remember when Swan asked him, like, "Hey, are you the kind of guy?" Because she had the uncle who was a gambler and a drunk, and when it came down to it, he saved the kids from a burning fire or something, like a house fire, and then he died doing it. So she was like, "Hey, when the house is on fire, are you going to be there? Are you going to show up?"
Yes.
And I think Matt's the kind of guy.
Oh, 100%. But the entire time he'd be like, "Why am I doing this?
I should be
running the other direction."
Yeah, this is the other hint at the size of his force, whether or not it's all of them, because he's got about 3,000 of them still. And originally in the camps we had 800 Terrans, 900 Kyrianan, and about 1,700 foot soldiers. So around 4,000-ish or 3,500-ish.
Okay. And
so
they've already had 3 battles.
And he still has 3,000 out of like 3,500, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. So his men are looking for another fight, even though they've already been in 3 battles, and Matt's just trying to keep everybody alive.
It's that fun dynamic where they're like looking for fights because
like,
it's like,
fighting!
Yeah.
And he's like, no, escape!
Yeah.
And so Matt's wondering about why he doesn't seem to have any of his luck right now.
It's like, what?
But doesn't seem to think about the 3 battles he just
and
fought.
He's still alive.
And there was one of the battles where they were like fighting, but then another Aiel clan like came in and ran the other one off, and then and his troops were just like left standing on the field.
Oh yeah, and they like escaped the second fight. It's crazy, but it's like your luck is working at full capacity right now, bud.
I know. He also keeps thinking that at some point this is gonna go really bad for all of them. Yeah. And every group that they face have been larger than the one before and larger than his. So it's been a day for Matt. Now, right now, he's looking at this group of Aiel on some hill, and then all of a sudden, they get just like blown up by a lightning strike.
Yeah, this is big because the way they react to this shows that this has been happening all day so far.
Yeah.
And they're just moving on because it's described as they're all used to it. They just pick up their injured and then they leave their dead and they just keep running on.
Yeah, and Matt has seen the progression of how they've learned because before they would like stand around and then there'd be a second one and it was a whole thing.
So you get off, you get gone real quick. So.
Right. And so at some point, Matt thinks that this has to be Samael, and I'm curious about this information that Matt has. Like, why does he think...
Well, he kind of goes through the logic of, it's like, oh, maybe it's Rand, but if it isn't Rand, who else could it be? 1 step, 2 step, and then maybe Samael.
And he, like, knows Samael's an alien?
Yeah, we know that Samael's kind of already been running around, shouting his name. He's the most vocal one so far that we've seen. Like that Darkfriend attack on the Aiel, they were all shouting Samael and the Golden Bee, so...
That's true, and Matt saw that firsthand.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one who was there.
Like, there's reasons for that, so...
It was just like,
yeah.
Pretty big conclusion to jump to there, Matt.
I mean, a little bit. I could see that.
But...
Yeah.
Especially considering he knows that Rand is literally channeling right now.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't he assume it's just Rand?
So looking at the chapter, the point in which he says that, he's looking at a bunch of like trees and everything's going up in flames around him. So he thinks to himself, oh man, has Rand finally tipped over the edge of madness because like everything is getting lit on fire right now. And he doesn't think that it's like the women who are doing this because it's like crazy, outrageous fires that are happening. Unless, as a side note, he's like, oh, never upset a woman. Maybe it is Avienda who's really mad at Rand or something. Ha.
And it's like, oh, they're not just like fighting a battle for their lives.
Yeah, I mean,
like, why wouldn't he think?
He thinks that it's either Rand's gone crazy or something. Add 2 2s together without getting 5. Maybe it's Samael trying to cause shit too. So
okay,
yeah,
I feel like that especially is a tip for the reader.
Okay,
whether it's a tip for here's what's actually happening or like a misdirection.
Okay, so basically
no, it's just like to make us believe or think
sure
that this is Samael, because like the fact that Matt thinks that out of everything that he could be thinking about this channeling situation right now, it just like didn't quite make sense. For me.
I can get that.
So it seems like a deliberate thing.
Okay. What's also interesting is that Matt thinks that he should be able to see the tower, but he's like, oh, why isn't where I think it should be?
Because he's trying to lead them back to there.
Yeah, but the tower's gone at this point.
It's gone.
So
yeah, I know. So while Matt's looking around, the group of 4 lords that are under him come up and they have news because a group of Aiel are heading straight towards them, and there's probably about 5,000 of them.
Yes.
And the way they're headed, with Matt's army staying hidden, the Aiel will just be like on top of them really soon. Yeah,
so I got to talk about these 4 lords.
Well, it makes them very excited.
It does, because it's like, ooh, big fight, but it's like 5,000 to like 3,000. It's a bad situation. But he's got Estienne, which is the rich boy from Tyr.
Potato face.
Yeah. Nalessian, which is a new guy, and he's the guy who has replaced Melonril because he died.
Right, okay.
And then we've got Talmanes, and that's the Cairhienin, who led the charge with Matt. And then there's Dared, who is leading the pike.
Right.
So, and I also love the fact that they do not pick up on Matt's sarcasm, where he's like,
never.
Oh, great. This is a fantastic
bloody
thing.
Fantastic. And they're like, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. This is great. Let's fight.
Yeah, and we get a little bit of a recap of the battles that they've already been in so far.
Yes.
At this point.
Fast version. First one we saw the beginning of, it was even numbers, and then the lightning was coming down to maybe help them and drive off the Aiel. Then the next one was a draw in Matt's eyes because they were able to escape the Shido when they were pulling back to regroup, and then the group just like never chased them down. So he's like, what happened to them? Who knows? Maybe lightning, maybe they got picked up by another Aiel group, like who knows? And then the last one, they got lucky because another bunch of Aiel
That's the one I was talking about,
plowed into the back, and then the Shido ran off, so.
Yeah, okay. So the Aiel headed for them will be here in like half an hour, and also Couladin is apparently with this group.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself at this point, oh my god, Matt's gonna face Couladin.
Okay.
Like that is what's happening here.
Yeah.
And I love that for Matt.
Well, they like really lay it down too, because they're like, well, we don't know if it's for sure Couladin, but it's some guy who's got his arms exposed and has got the exact same tattoo. So it's like, unless it's Rand running around, it's Couladin.
It's Couladin.
This is going to happen.
For sure. But at the same time, we also know that a couple hours ago, Rand did leave.
He did.
Like, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But it is obviously Couladin. Now, at this point, when I was reading, I knew it was Couladin. I didn't think to myself, well, it could be Rand, technically.
Yeah.
Because Rand's not running around with his arms exposed.
Exactly.
Number one. But
yeah. And he's on a horse and all that stuff. So.
Yes. Well, maybe. Maybe not at this point.
I mean, all the reasons why it could be Rand.
There could be like lots of things, but...
It's not Matt accidentally killing Rand or Rand accidentally killing Matt. So Shoot, didn't happen.
Okay. So Matt starts to formulate his plan. And he tells one of them to swing the Terrans to the north.
Yeah, that's Nalessian.
And charge from behind.
Yep.
And then he tells Talmanes that he should do the same from the south.
Yeah.
And then most importantly, Matt is going to stay with the pikes.
Yes, this is the funniest bit too. I love this part.
Because he's like, it's going to be safest for me there.
I'm safe here because I don't have to go charging in with the horses like last time.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay in the middle of the pike.
Yeah. And they're like, good, we're glad you're with us,
Yeah.
our leader.
Well, and this is when Darragh tells Matt, it's like, oh, you must not let your anger about this cool that didn't overcome you. A battle is no place to try fighting a duel.
Yeah, and Matt's like, what the fuck? I don't want
to do a duel with this guy. Like, no.
And then he just goes, yes, I won't do that.
Yes.
Okay, so Matt tells them the rest of the plan, which is hilarious. It's a good-ass plan.
It's good. It's a good plan.
So the bowmen are going to cover the sides, but stay hidden until the last second.
Yep.
And when the pikes march straight at the Shido, as soon as they see the Aiel, they'll turn and run away.
And be like, oh no, we have to get away from them.
And then spin back around to trick the Aiel. And the best part of the plan is as soon as the pike turns to fight, they're going to start yelling, protect the Lord Dragon.
Yeah, so this is an awesome
as if Rand
feint.
is with them, so it's really going to drive the Aiel towards them and not notice the horses coming in to get
and
them.
the bowmen on the side. So basically you're going to have the pike facing off right against the Shido.
It's very tricksy.
Bowmen from the side and then cavalry from the back. And boom, the rest is one thing leads to another and you're trying to kick a severed head off of a pole or something. So,
yeah, well, okay. Now you're jumping ahead.
Hey, I just got to,
Yeah, it's good. It's just showing Matt's competence in battle.
Yes, that's a great word for it. He is competent.
Yes. And not even on purpose. He doesn't even stop to even consider or think about it. He's like, this is the plan.
Yeah, this'll work.
Yeah.
We got this.
We got this.
Yeah.
So then we get a perspective change back to Rand. And things aren't going so well for this guy.
This is the best part. I love this part of the chapter.
Do you?
I love it. I love it so much. Because you get to see Rand's decline of what happens when you're exhausted and sleep deprived and your brain just isn't working anymore. It's failed to...
It's wild. And it's your brain is working against you.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is when you need to go to bed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's nighttime now, and he's still riding his horse, and he's barely aware of the maidens that are still surrounding him. He's totally exhausted. It's gonna get worse.
Yeah. It probably also tells to how stubborn Rand is being right now, because Avienda and Egwene, we learned, left hours
at dawn.
ago.
Or no, the opposite of that.
Yeah, dusk. Yes. When the sun went down, they were gone.
Yeah.
And now it's middle of the night or whatever, and he's still going around. And I gotta believe that the maidens have tried to get him back so far.
Yeah.
They don't want to be just wandering around at nighttime.
Yeah. And maybe he has a plan. They're just sort of sticking with him. They're
making sure he doesn't die.
Maybe there's something else to do. But anyway, so Rand thinks about the events of the day because apparently Samael has made multiple attempts on his life.
Maybe. And also, what does that mean?
Yeah.
The tower, for sure.
Yes.
And then, what else?
Well, we did see Matt think about, the fires and, more lightning strikes and stuff.
Sure.
So maybe that wasn't the only attack.
Okay.
But also...
We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know.
Little clarification at this point.
Very little. So... Rand doesn't know what's going on, but then he starts having some, Luz Theron thoughts.
Yeah.
That's the new LTT, Luz Theron thoughts. That should be what our podcast is called. I'm just kidding.
New name.
New name. Okay, so we get some stuff about Samael, although all of his thoughts seem really odd to him, because we also get thoughts about Ilyena and burning the world for her.
Yeah.
And, I have to tell you, this entire scene has just wild imagery that I can't do justice talking about it.
Sure.
I'm not going to read a couple pages of this entire scene, but the descriptions of him trying to hold on to Sidene and definitely going very crazy with muddled thoughts back and forth.
Yeah.
So descriptive.
Let's talk about this then. Rand clearly isn't in full control of his brain right now because he's exhausted.
Yeah.
Exhausted isn't even a strong enough word for it.
No, and I just thought it was actually, while I was reading this, I was this is really funny, because last episode, I was hey, Rand hasn't been going crazy lately.
Yeah.
And then literally this chapter, it's crazy.
But this is the thing I want you to kind of consider. If Rand isn't in control of his brain fully, then it kind of seems like LTT is picking up the pieces.
Oh, yeah.
To keep them going.
Yes. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's like, but clearly LTT is coming through really strong. We get more LTT thoughts in this chapter than I think we have before, probably collectively.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
There's so much of just like LTT thinking things and telling Rand stuff. And then like we get that whole thing about Samael too afterwards, about all that stuff about Rand knowing who Samael is, and he knows Samael's real name is Tel'Janin.
Yeah.
It's not even in history books. Like LTT is coming through so strongly now.
Yeah, he's there. Here he is.
Here he is.
Yeah.
Because Rand isn't.
Yeah, and I also had a point about how this, like, seemingly crazy...
Dave's not here, man.
Yeah.
Rand's not here, man.
Rand's not here. So, my point, though, is that this is, like, that situational crazy. Like,
sure.
Remember when Rand was, like, taken off to Tyr?
Oh, I remember.
And you're like, he's going crazy. And I go, well, no. He's sleep deprived. He's probably not eating. He's lost his horse and just running. And
he does think
like
he hasn't eaten since morning. He thinks that.
Sure. And who knows how much he slept the night before.
He didn't.
He didn't, right, exactly. Because he was thinking too much.
Yep.
I feel that. But...
there's a lot of reasons why he's going crazy.
This brings back, like, those feelings for me of Rand was like, is this true madness?
Yeah.
Or is this just like a situational, we're sleep deprived situation?
Sounds like you're just trying to explain away Rand's madness. You know, it's okay.
I am.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Okay.
So things get a bit worse because he can't even remember his own name.
And you gotta imagine, like, the maidens are just listening to him ramble these few sentences.
Yeah. Rand al'Thor, I'm Rand al'Thor. I need to see. And it's like, okay. So
and then he's like, boom, giant blue disco ball in the sky.
Yeah.
I love it. Good description, right?
And then, like, they are trying to preserve their night vision, and he just, like, can't see through the blinding light, so then he, like, turns
It's kind of
off.
funny. I was going to do a fun fact about the night vision thing.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, pirates and their eye patches, because it's strongly implicated that pirates wore eye patches to keep dark vision, like their night vision in one eye.
Oh, and they would, like, switch?
So it's like when you go under to the deck, you pull off your eye patch because it takes about 20 minutes for your eye to gain its, like, night vision.
Turns out that you just, like, did a new fun fact right in the middle here.
I know, I had to,
did
like,
it
sneak
anyway.
it in there. So. But hey, there you go.
Okay, so Rand starts asking the maidens, where are they? Where are they?
And this is bad, too.
And Sulan's like, they, as in Egwene and Aviendha, went to Moraine and the Wise Ones a few hours ago.
Yeah.
And Rand's like, no, not them. They're still out there. I can hear them fighting. I need to help them.
Yeah.
And then Sulan's like, oh yes, the Wise Ones must speak to you now.
Okay.
Come on over this way.
Okay, Grandpa, come on.
Yeah, and then you forgot to take your medication today.
Well, and it's crazy because, like, Rand is saying, I need to find them, right? And he never specifies, except in his own brain, who them is, except it keeps changing because at one point he thinks maybe Egwene and Aviendha, but then also thinks, like, Couladin and Samael, and, like, also there is no specification of who they is.
No, and he thinks he can still hear the fighting.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
It's like, maybe you can, but it's like, do you see anybody right here?
You know what's probably not helpful? I wonder which version of LTT is in his head. Because there's LTT before he went crazy, before he was tainted. And then there's LTT after he went crazy and destroyed everything.
Whoa. Okay.
So, like, is this crazy madness tainty LTT?
I think you just, like, busted open the...
Or is this regular before that LTT? Because this whole...
Well, I don't know. Which one does it sound like?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, because calling for Ilyena and stuff like that sounds pretty madnessy.
I mean, and one of this, he's like, oh, mustn't use that, in reference to Balefire.
Oh, yeah.
Threatens the fabric of the pattern. We do know that, too.
Yeah.
Not even for Ilyena, I would burn the world and use my soul for tinder to hear her laugh again.
Yeah, so this sounds like...
The sane one, for sure, right?
No, oh, yeah. Okay, well, that's...
He's not saying, like, let's Balefire everything. I feel like the crazy one would be like...
Which he probably did.
Burn it to the ground.
Well, the entire palace was, like, destroyed. So
hey.
It's possible. But it sounds like...
It's hard to say.
Yeah, it sounds like we're getting real crazy LTT here.
Okay. Yeah. I like that you made that distinction.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's important.
I think everything's important, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Let's go back to Crazy Rand.
Okay.
He's trying to find them.
Yeah, come over this way. And he thinks to himself, I must have missed the messenger that called for me.
Shoot.
Shoot.
Oh, it better not take long.
Okay.
Those wise ones. I have
Because
things
I got
to
work
do.
to do. So Sulin and the maidens guide crazy and tired Rand back to the wise one's camp, while Rand grumbles about how this must not take him too much time. And then we get a bit of description of what's going on at the camp. So we got Moraine moving down the lines of the injured, Lan hovering around her, Wise One sitting in a circle having a meeting, and Asmodean helping the wounded by lugging around water.
This is great.
Now, I have to tell you though,
Okay.
at this point in the chapter, I still don't know that everything's done.
Yes, that's true.
So I thought when Rand was like, I can still hear them fighting, I have to help them, and the reason why he's like persevering like crazy is because everything is still happening.
Still going on.
Which would be wild, because usually by nightfall you try to like regroup.
And like, yeah, maybe. I don't even know.
In battles and stuff. Like that's what I would assume.
I assume you don't fight in the dark.
But like, if they are, that's crazy. And I was like, oh, they're bringing Rand back because he's just like not being helpful here. But I didn't know that shit was over. I thought this was still in the midst of battles.
Definitely. So that leads to a bunch of other questions, like how long has the battle kind of been over?
Well, it sounds like when Rand...
Lands like an hour. We tried to send word an hour ago to you.
Yeah, I would say that it was probably even before then when Matt, in the afternoon, kills Couladin.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
It could have been.
And
it definitely could have been.
Who knows how long that battle went on. It gets very brushed over, and I'm actually a little bit upset that we didn't get that actual
It's an
scene.
off-screen death? Oh, I know.
Yeah.
This is like the biggest heartache for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's the best off-screen death.
Because I was like, he needs to get murdered, and then I was feeling, oh, we gotta get there.
Okay,
let's finish this.
Let's finish Rand's episode.
Yes, let's finish it. Okay. So Asmodean comes up to Rand, and they have a conversation, and Asmodean's like, Moraine insisted that I helped. I couldn't say no to her.
Well, Asmodean probably was told
to stay.
Like, you stay in your tent, you don't move, because that's why Rand was like, ooh, Asmodean's doing this because he couldn't help it.
Yeah.
But
no. So Rand then goes on a big rant about Samael and how he has to find him. And then...
Whoa. Are you just going to skip over all that important bit?
Well, not really. I figured that you would have...
So this is what I'm going to say. There are so many awesome little fun fact pieces of trivia here that I can't even do them here.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to do them. But just like the gates of heaven.
Okay. Paradisen. Is that? Wasn't that?
That's paradise. But if you look at the literal...
gates of Paradisen or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's like from
again,
the old-timey.
Yeah, but just listen to the phrasing of it. It's like the gates of heaven. I remember when he was first named Destroyer of Hope after he betrayed the gates of heaven. Like the very strong implication of like...
Okay, Betrayer of Hope, I thought that was...
Destroyer of Hope.
What did I say?
Betrayer.
Oh, Betrayer of Hope is someone else.
Baalzamon.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Samael.
This is different?
Samael. Destroyer.
Okay. Destroyer of Hope is different than Betrayer of Hope.
Yes.
Okay.
They're different words.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're very similar.
Yeah. Anyways, I got lots of fun information we can dive into, but we can't do it right now.
That's fine. I don't want to do it right now.
Okay. We got so much to cover.
Yeah, it's fine. So anyway, Rand's rambling like crazy about all this stuff, clearly from like the old time. And Asmodean is like,
you aren't supposed to know this.
Okay. So Lan comes up to them and tells Rand that he can't join the meetings of the Wise Ones yet. And Rand's like, what meetings of the Wise Ones? And so they're currently meeting with the 4 clan chiefs of the clans who were hanging back before.
Yeah.
And they won't meet with Rand until they make arrangements with the Wise Ones.
Yeah, and it's like a little bit frustrating because they're here to follow Rand.
Well, and at least now the Wise Ones sort of get their power back.
They do, that's fair.
They've been missing it, and these 4 clans don't know the power dynamic now.
Sure.
So they're still deferring to the Wise Ones.
Yeah.
Because they don't know.
They don't even know yet.
They don't even know. They're out of the loop. So Lan tries to tell Rand to come to talk to Moraine, but Rand's like, no, I have to go back out there, because his brain's like not working.
Yeah.
And Lan is like, buddy, it's done.
Yeah, battle's over, man.
All of it.
Yeah.
Thousands of Shido have been taken prisoner, and most of the rest are crossing the river. Word would have been sent to you an hour ago, but nobody knew where you were. And Rand is like, what? We won?
We did it?
And Lan is like, You have won completely.
We did it. Yay!
The one-day battle. Let me tell you how
great.
skeptical I was in this moment.
Oh, just like lying to Rand?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's like, go to sleep, buddy.
Yes.
Battle's over. You did
yes,
it.
You
Okay,
won.
go to sleep now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like literally in this moment, that's what I thought was
you know
happening.
what? That's totally fair because
Yeah.
that would be a justified lie to get Rand to just go to sleep
to
for a
chill,
little bit.
because I think he's like ruining
Yeah,
things.
you don't have to do things. So, but now that we know the battle is over and
Yeah.
has been over,
Cool.
it's kind of funny because my question is like, how long has Rand been wandering around with his maidens?
Yeah.
And they're just like, we gotta go back. And it's like...
And turns out all they had to say was, the wise ones want to talk to you.
Yeah.
They should have just done that an hour ago.
I mean, they could have, and maybe he was more stubborn, and then he's just like forgotten.
Yeah.
Because
It's likely.
His brain
That's
ceased.
likely. Yeah.
That was
So
weird,
Rand is trying to just like comprehend what the fuck's going on. He lets go of Sidene, and when he does, it basically shuts his body down, and the chapter ends with Lan shouting for Moraine because Rand is bleeding badly.
Yeah.
Oh, not only is he exhausted, sleep deprived, not eaten, but he's also had a ton of blood loss.
Yes.
Ton.
Not helping.
Since like noon.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
not great. Sulin is saying like, hold on, Rand al'Thor, and Rand passes out as he feels Asmodean sending a trickle of Sidene into him.
Yeah, so just discussing that Asmodean part. We kind of get a reference next chapter to it.
Okay.
Just where he's like, hey, I did what I could, but I can't really heal.
I can't heal, yeah.
Yeah, but it's almost like at this point, Asmodean's doing something to try to help. Like, he probably knows, like, something.
Yeah, and I think that that's just like a measure of loyalty.
That's what I wanted to talk about. I want to
Yeah.
talk about Asmodean's role after the next chapter.
Okay.
Okay.
So, chapter 45, After the Storm, and we get the chapter symbol of the rising sun.
Yeah.
Because Kyrian is now Rand's.
Yeah. Do you know why Kyrian has the rising sun flag?
Should I?
Well, it's the, like, furthest east city, pretty much. Sunrise in the east.
Oh.
Yeah. Land of the rising sun.
Okay. Like Japan?
I guess so.
Japan's flag is the red circle, which symbolizes the sun.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I had to just stop to make sure that my information is correct here, because that's just information
Yeah.
I pulled out of my butt. And turns out it's completely right.
Awesome.
Because the red circle of the Japanese flag symbolizes the sun against a white background, because Japan lies at the far west of the Pacific Ocean, and the sun rises spectacularly over the sea to the east.
Awesome. Fun facts.
Same as Kyrian.
Yeah. Well, and even looking at the
Kyrian
map,
is
though-
actually just Japan.
You know what? I'm on board with that.
Same.
It
same,
works.
same.
It
Exactly
works.
the same.
Okay. Well, and it's like Kyrian isn't even like the furthest east because
No,
there's
it's
other.
not.
But it's like I get it. I get why it's the rising sun.
Well, and I mean, realistically, on a globe, there is no furthest east.
Well, I mean,
But with the sea to the east, I
Yeah.
can understand that the sun rises nice.
yeah.
Anyway,
It's good. Okay, let's talk about the chapter.
I know. I just thought.
Spitting fun facts at everyone. So
Yeah. Okay, so we enter Matt's perspective. Back to Matt. Flip flop.
and the battle's actually over. Yeah.
Actually, and we're like the next day, the battle's actually over, and this is where I got my oh good moment.
Phew.
Yeah. So it's mid-morning, and Matt is thinking about a few things, including the arrow slash across his temple,
Yeah.
and how uncomfortable he is in this heat.
Yeah.
And all
I
that.
love the slow build to Matt's thoughts about what happened. Like, reading it a second time is awesome because you get to see the evolution of, like, him thinking about his battle against Couladin.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
Because the slash across his temple is, like, the thing that triggered it all.
So from Couladin. Yeah, oh, I guess so.
We don't know if the arrow was
Oh,
from Couladin.
right. No, probably not. But like from the
arrow,
battle.
yeah, the arrow was what, like, knocked him down. And then he got up and it's like Couladin's carving a path to him.
Oh, right. Okay.
And Matt basically just was, like, in the way. We don't even know if Couladin recognized Matt.
right.
So...
Okay.
But yeah, this arrow was like the first thing, so. It says it in the chapter, like in the description of the battle with Couladin.
Yeah, I remember.
Cool, okay, I'll
I remember.
you know.
Yeah, what I do remember for sure is that Couladin really thought that Rand was there.
Oh yeah, he bought it.
And he was like calling for like Rand to show himself.
Yeah.
So and especially because it's all wetlanders that
Yeah.
he's battling right now, because I guess they'd only been battling
Yeah.
Aiel if this is the only wetlander force.
And Couladin would totally think that Rand would be with his, stupid wetlander boys.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I get it. Now, Matt also thinks about the slice across his chest and how if it was an inch difference, the spear would have gone through his heart. And that sounds more like it was from the fight with Couladin.
That is from Couladin because he says, light, but the man had been good. And it's like Couladin was a fantastic
like not just
warrior.
Good. Like literally, this is what Lan was talking about with Rand. He was born with a spear in his hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Best off-screen death. I love it.
Yeah, terrible though.
Yeah, I know, but it's like you kind of get it because, like, you know, Matt thinks back to pretty much all the good stuff.
So I didn't get any of this until it's revealed later.
Yeah.
Right?
That's totally understandable.
Yeah. So we get Matt's observation of the camp right now and what's going on. It's a party.
Yeah.
So the soldiers have won and everyone is celebrating and no one like is sleeping or eating like they should be.
Yeah, they're just drinking.
They're drinking and laughing and dancing and singing and playing games. Some are singing dance with Jacko the Shadows.
Yeah.
And trying to teach some Aiel the lyrics, but they're not interested.
But then this is where we get that whole pole game.
And okay.
So I got to read it. So the Islemen were doing some kicking of their own. They leaped as high as they could, flung 1 foot even higher, then landed on that foot and immediately leaped upward again, faster and faster, sometimes spinning horizontal. And then we get like, there's the...
This is the point where we actually get that Matt specifically isn't looking at a 10-foot pole stuck in the ground.
Yes.
And there's no mention of a head hanging from it.
Yeah, because he's not looking at it.
Yes.
But that's the implication. So we'll come back to it again.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So Matt thinks that this is just wild. Everyone is celebrating life, but he doesn't want to celebrate anything right now. And he thinks, almost dead yesterday, maybe dead tomorrow, but alive. Gloriously alive today.
Yeah.
And I've heard that before.
Have you?
This is a very famous quote I see not everywhere, but like I've heard it before.
Really?
And I had no idea where or when or who or what, but...
Oh, you mean like in Wheel of Time universe type stuff?
Oh, yeah, not in this book.
Oh, I thought you meant like inspirational posters of like a cat hanging from the branch or whatever.
No.
Being like
literally on like Twitter of Time.
Okay, see, I don't do the social... I don't know what you're talking about.
No, yeah, I know.
I can't even log into our own social media anymore. I don't know. It doesn't work. I'm locked out.
I know.
I don't know what's happening out there.
It's so funny when people message me on Twitter and then they say things like, this is Brett, right? And I go,
no, you need to send me a postcard to my box number.
They're like, I assume this is Brett because of spoilers. I was like, no, I just avoid spoilers on here like crazy.
Yeah.
I should probably like put on our bio, like, Danny runs the social media.
Yeah.
Don't message me spoilers. But anyway.
I'm trying to work into our budget a social media manager who's going to run it for us.
No.
We can pay $5. $5
total. I would hate that so much. I want to do it myself. I interact with the people.
Pay you $5?
Pay me $5.
Okay. All right. That's $5 total.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Okay.
It's more $5 than I had before. Okay. So anyway, this saying is pretty famous.
Okay.
Yeah, people like this one. I think I've seen it, like, people have it tattooed on them.
I believe that. There's a lot of things that I would tattoo on myself.
Yeah, okay. All right. Give me a list.
Well, I can't. I'm giving you the $5. I don't have any money for tattoos.
Oh, right. Shoot. Okay, so Matt thinks about how he's in this crazy predicament now. He started out yesterday to leave, and now he's right back where he started.
Like the same place.
The same hill valley, and now he's going to have to, like, get Moraine off his butt.
Well, you know the worst part? What the heck is he going to do about Melindra?
Oh, yeah,
That's my favorite part of this entire sequence. Even when, like, knowing he leaves last time and knowing he's coming right back is so funny to me.
I know. So while Matt's thinking about his predicament that he's in, he's also thinking about how this is all Rand and Taviran's fault, and he just wants to get away, but the lords wouldn't let him. Every time he tried to, like, turn to leave, they'd be like, this way, bud!
Yeah.
Come on this way with us.
It's like, how much is he really? So he's just sucked right back into it.
Yeah. And so Matt also still has his Foxhead medallion and thinks about how it won't protect him from Rand and Samael and all that. Basically from what he's learned from Rand is that men's channeling is different.
Yeah.
And so he's just like assuming at this point.
He is assuming. And it's like not something you really want to test because he's not going to walk up to Rand and be like, hey, can you try and like, I don't know, zap me with something?
No, but he could try channeling anything. Like there are things you can do. Like just like wrap me up in air for 3 seconds.
Yeah, but Matt's not going to do that.
No, he's not. But it would be something they could, there is a test they could do.
For sure.
To see. And I think that when he said Aes Sedai, I think that it's all Aes Sedai.
Interesting. So you think it's like full blanket protection of everything?
Yes, I do.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. Now this is when Melindra shows up.
Yeah.
And Matt immediately launches into, now listen, I can explain everything. And she's like, what? What do you have to explain? I knew that you would go seek your own honor.
Yeah.
And then Matt just goes with it.
Well, and it's his own stupid fault because he thinks that she knows he left and like was leaving for good.
Yeah, she doesn't.
She doesn't. She has no idea because he just like got up in the morning for the battle. She was already gone.
And she was already gone.
Yeah, and it's like even if he took all of his stuff with him, it's like
he went for battle.
Yeah, he took his stuff with him. He doesn't have much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because who knows where you're going to end up, so.
Yeah. So this is when we find out that Matt killed Couladin.
This is it. This is like the reveal.
Yeah, and she thinks that he went to go find him, like seek Couladin out
to get his glory and his own
glory. And Matt's like, no, it was actually the opposite of that.
Yeah,
but
didn't mean to.
Melindra says that Couladin was a man of much honor, and it would have been better if he captured him.
Giotto.
But even by killing him, you have gained much
honor. Yes.
Honor. Now, if Couladin had been captured, in Aiel culture,
sure,
what would have been done? Like, he wouldn't have just been
could have been executed. Absolutely,
executed.
Oh yeah,
for
like
sure. All of the like treasonous behavior.
Yeah, it definitely could have been like an execution because they were even thinking about like, I mean,
like he wouldn't just be like Guy Shine.
Yeah, they're talking about killing him, so it's like the whole Guy Shine thing is for people, but
not one to have zero honor.
He doesn't have honor because he's breaking all the rules of the Aiel. He's like taking prisoners. He's stealing. Like he's doing all the terrible things. So he's abandoned their way of life.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then this is when Matt looks over at the 10-foot pole.
Yeah.
And sees Couladin's head.
Yes.
Hanging from it.
So this is the thing that I wanted to read. It's because the Aiel are doing the dance of their own, but it's like from a circle of onlookers near a 10-foot pole stuck in the ground, and that's when Matt looks away. There's many Aiel men who are doing the kicking of their own. So it's kind of the implication that they're gathered around the pole doing kicking, trying to kick high up to hit Couladin's severed head.
And Matt does know that he doesn't know who severed because it wasn't Matt.
So the thing is like, it wasn't Matt. Matt wouldn't do that, but I could be wrong, but I think I'm right.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me.
I like my version.
Yeah, it's okay. Good. It's not great, like, imagery-wise.
And, like, it really doesn't even matter.
No, it doesn't at all. So, we get a brief recap of how the fight went down. Do you want to take that?
Yeah, let's do that. So, the arrow clipped the side of Matt's head. That was the first thing. And then he was on the ground. We don't know who shot the arrow. And then Couladin popped out of nowhere and was cutting through soldiers. And Couladin was like shouting for Rand to show himself. And he was the true Karn. And Matt thinks like, oh, like side note, maybe he really believed it by then. And that's a big question too. Like, did Couladin actually believe he was the real Karn, even though it was like Asmodean doing that for him?
But maybe, yes. Yeah, I think he believed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like so self-involved that it's like...
Oh, yeah. Maybe he thought like, these were given to me.
Yeah.
By someone with the power.
Who's to say?
Who's to say what's actually right here?
Exactly.
Because he had never been to Rhuidean and experienced any of that. So
from what we know, yeah.
So he doesn't know.
Yeah, because he was like making up the stuff that he saw in the columns.
Oh, for sure. Like he didn't actually ever go there.
There is some argument to be said that maybe Asmodean like used compulsion on Couladin to
it's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Couladin's just a self-involved asshole.
I think so too. And when you believe a story for so long,
your brain's going to start. Exactly. So, okay, anyways, back to the battle. So, arrow, Matt's down, Couladin comes up, carving people up, and then Couladin decided to try to carve a hole through Matt to get to Rand, and he didn't even necessarily recognize Matt. It's just like one thing led to another. Matt didn't get killed by Couladin, and then,
Matt killed Couladin.
And then someone chopped off his head.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
So, Matt's thinking about how he can somehow get away from Melindra.
Like, how do we do this?
And then Talmanis shows up to tell him that a delegation came from Kyrian during the night to say that there's going to be a big parade for the Lord Dragon, and Matt doesn't really seem to care. And then Talmanis just, like, goes on and on about this.
Yeah, we got to talk politics here.
Okay, you can.
Okay.
You can talk politics, and I'm going to drink my drink.
Okay. So, the High Lord Mylan is the one who sent the procession from Kyrian, and he's the one who Rand put in charge here. So, back in the Stone of Tyr, before they all left, in, like, Shadow Rising, Chapter 21, when he sent all the Terran Lords, remember, because they were all scheming against him.
Yes.
Lord Mylan's the one who was in charge of all that. So, he's coming now from Kyrian, and then we also get new lords, Dobrain and Marengil, and Lady Colavir. And these are all probably Kyrianan, because we haven't heard their names yet.
Okay, fair.
But they're coming from Kyrian with Lord Mylan.
Okay.
And Talmanis talks to Matt. He's like, hey, this delegation is important because Matt needs to talk about, like, getting them their rightful place in this giant procession because he's the one who slew Couladin and you were in the place. And Matt's like, no, not happening. So that whole deal happens.
Okay, and then one of the other guys jumps in and is like, yes, of course, that's where you'll be. You're our battle leader. Our general.
General. And we will give you body servants and fancy clothes and things.
And Matt's like, no.
Yeah.
No way. And he's like, what the heck? I'm no general. I was like, think back to your entire day. And you really still think you're no battle general?
Yep.
He thinks, oh, what would these guys think if they knew that their battle general just pieced together some, like, little snippets from what's in his head.
Yeah.
And he doesn't actually know. And it's
that's
like,
where thoughts come from.
And it's like, I hate to break it to you, Matt.
Yeah.
But I think that you know.
Yeah. Well, that's the big argument. It's like, hey, if I had, 1,000 voices living in my head of past people who know stuff, and then it's just in my head, well, then I know it.
That's fair. That's true. However it got there.
It doesn't matter how it got there.
Even if they're not your experiences, you know it.
If you know it, then it's like, it's
like
there.
If I study how to be a battle general for a decade.
Yeah.
And all that information is in my head from past battles.
Yeah.
I didn't experience it, but I know it now. Right?
So, I know. I agree.
Is that similar?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Close enough.
Close enough.
It's close enough. Doesn't even matter.
So Talmanis keeps going with this too and tells Matt that he is their leader and he's followed other men of other lands because he's had to, but he follows Matt because he wants to.
This is huge.
Yeah, and then they both pledge themselves to Matt, and then they both fight over who gets to brush Matt's horse for him.
Exactly. This is great. I love the fact that he's kind of collecting these people.
Yes, I do too. I think this is good. I think this is a good trajectory for Matt.
Yeah.
I just am waiting for him to come to terms with it. So we have our three boys.
Sure.
Matt, Perrin, Rand, who left, all not wanting to be heroes.
Yep.
All not wanting any adventure. All being forced to believe that they're Taviran, which they've all eventually accepted.
Sure.
Rand is a Dragon Reborn, which he never wanted to accept. Perrin is the wolf guy who he did not want to accept that at all.
Yeah.
And Matt now has this like luck and battle situation going on, which he doesn't want to
Son of Battles thing.
Yeah, accept. And so we have Rand accepting he's the Dragon Reborn, and we sort of ended the Shadow Rising with Perrin sort of accepting his position.
Yeah, even that in Emmons Field, accepting his position as like Lord the Two
Golden
Rivers.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So he sort of stepped into that and maintained it. And
Yeah.
then now we have Matt, who's just like fallen a little behind.
No, by the end of this book, he hasn't had that much, he didn't have a lot of scenes last book, so
That's fair.
Gotta play some
he
catch-up
didn't even
here
have
for
very
him,
many
so.
scenes this book.
yeah.
Most of his scenes this book, he was just like doing it.
Hanging out. Every once in a while, so.
Right.
And just on a side note, they also talk about how Matt, he has the battle skill that won the day for them and kept them alive, but they've also heard of his luck, how he always turns the right card.
And he doesn't lose. Yeah.
And he doesn't lose. And then they would follow him even if he had never, heard of the Lord Dragon.
Oh, okay.
So even Rand aside, being the dragon's buddy, they would
they
still
didn't
choose
want
to
to be
follow
following
Matt.
the Lord Dragon anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's like half of
this
them
is
don't
fair.
want to. So.
This is what they would rather.
This is just like a regular dude who's just good at battles.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Let's go with this guy.
And so while Matt is thinking about how terrible this all is, He also spots Moraine and Lan up on a hill having some argument. Moraine leaves and Lan stays and is just watching Matt.
Yeah, we don't get much on that.
Nothing. We get nothing on that.
Okay, but something fishy's going on here.
Colon,
what did Moraine say? Okay.
So Matt looks at Couladin's head again and thinks that Couladin may be dead, but now he's never going to be free.
Yeah, shoot. Okay.
So at the end of this perspective, there's about 50 soldiers who have come to listen in on this conversation. They start singing the song again, and in this verse, Matt is in it.
Yeah.
They sing, "Then follow young Matt whenever he calls to dance with Jack of the Shadows."
Yeah, so I love the new lines.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty great.
Oh, he's going to go down in some history, this
Yeah,
guy. He's
yeah.
like Rudolph. So
Hey.
we also have Melindra, who's like stroking his neck.
And like grabbing the back of his
during
neck when he's
this
trying
whole
to...
thing. So he's like got that to worry about.
I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
Just hopefully she doesn't find out about the whole he tried to bail.
Yeah. Maybe.
Not worried about that?
No, I really don't love this relationship. I think it's kind of weird. And I'm okay with it.
You know, that
not
fizzling.
continuing. Yeah. I don't think they're in love.
Oh, sorry. I have a mission to go on for the Lord Dragon. Super important.
See ya.
See you later.
Except he wouldn't do that. He would just leave.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's what he already tried to do.
Right.
So, perspective change to Rand. He's waking up naked under his blanket, but he's not hurting anymore, which is good. And he starts to remember everything.
And that's not so good.
And he thinks, oh, I cannot let him take control. I am me.
Yeah. There's a definite distinction here.
And
like,
then,
Rand's aware that LTT is being intrusive in his brain.
get out of here. I'm Rand.
Yeah.
But Rand is back,
Yes.
which is good.
He's less tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Rand feels at the wound on his side, and then Avienda, who's been sitting here this whole time, goes, Moraine healed you. So Avienda and Asmodean are in the tent right now, and they both seem to have stayed up all night with him.
Yeah.
And then Avienda says Moraine shouldn't have had to heal you, implying that Rand acted like a dummy running off by himself.
Oh, yeah, huge dummy. It's like the entire trajectory of Rand for the second half of the day seems bad.
Yeah. And Moraine suffered because she had to use the last of her strength to help him.
She's doing like the guilt trip.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Now, that's a good point you made about how the second half of the day went bad for Rand. And I'm wondering if the more he channels, like, consistently, like, more, like, taintiness is in him.
Ah, yes. That's a good thought.
Because he literally channeled the entire morning.
Yeah.
And then things went bad.
Well, and he also, at one point, thought to himself last chapter that he's so tired and he's channeled so much that the taint is, like, starting to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's also bad.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
None of that is great.
It's, like, good in spite of the taint.
No. So Asmodean jumps in to say that Moraine is just fine. She's already been up and about. She's already been in here twice checking on Rand. And so last night, they weren't sure if Rand was going to even make it. And then he says, I did all I could for you, of course. My life is tied to yours, but my talents lie elsewhere from healing.
Yeah, okay.
And then he, like, gestures to his harp.
Hmm.
So that, and Avienda's like, whatever, get out of here, stupid.
Well, they've been staying up all night and clearly have had to have some conversation probably, and she also doesn't like him. So,
No.
Yeah. How do we feel about Asmodean? On the loyalty scale?
Loyal.
Okay.
Yeah. For now, I think. I think these are going well.
I mean, the fact that, at that point when he's basically dying, Asmodean could have taken an opportunity to, like...
Oh, I don't think he's murdering anybody. I don't think he's
so?
the type of Forsaken who murders people.
Interesting.
I think he's the type of Forsaken who, like, sort of wanted some power and, like, got goaded into, like, helping, probably because he was powerful.
Sure.
Obviously, he's not powerful right now because he's shielded, right?
Okay.
But maybe that's how he became a Forsaken. He seems like this, like, gentle musician who just, like, wanted some power, probably.
Sure.
And was, like, promised a palace something or something.
Wasn't there a thing about Asmodean's...
Past?
Yeah.
Being bad?
I feel like we got, like, a little tidbit where he did some bad stuff and he thought about that.
Oh.
Maybe.
Well, maybe he's having a redemption arc.
Yeah.
I just don't get that from him. Maybe
like, he's
because...
a Forsaken. When you say he doesn't murder people, it's like...
I know, but
he's Forsaken.
I know, I just don't feel it.
Okay.
I don't know. He's just too, like...
He'll kill you, but, like, reluctantly, and
Maybe?
he'll apologize.
Question mark?
sorry, I have to kill you. I have to get into this exclusive club.
Listen, because of his, like, state
Sure.
of, like, the predicament that he's in right now, he seems very meek. And I feel like that's the vibe I get of him, is his, like, meekness.
Yeah.
Because I guess when he was in the waste before he was shielded and everything, he was pretty bold, trying to get information out of Matt.
He was doing stuff.
He was doing stuff. And now he's just, like, trapped, literally.
Yeah.
So, okay. He didn't kill Rand, so he gets points.
Okay. That I'll give you.
So Avienda and Asmodean have some, like, back and forth between them. And Avienda really goes into berating Rand for acting like such a moron yesterday. And he's not acting like a true clan chief. He has an obligation to the Aiel, so he shouldn't just go run off getting himself killed. That's not what chiefs do.
Yeah, Rand's mostly shocked, too, that she thinks that he tried to do everything, and he feels like he didn't do anything.
Yes.
And it's like both might be true.
When he ran off, that's when you tried to do things, and you don't even remember it. So, bad.
Yeah.
Now we get to the topic of those 4 clans who were meeting.
And like sort of. We don't really learn much else.
No, they're camped really close together. There's a stream of Aiel moving between camps. Plus, all the wise ones are meeting still. And Avienda says it's not his business what's happening there. He'll find out when it's done. We also get that Egwene is at the wise ones meeting in Moraine's place.
That's probably the best bit, is because Moraine's too busy, so Egwene got dragged out of bed to go and do that.
Yeah.
So
I think that this is an important tidbit.
Okay.
Remember how it was like Egwene is like destined for leadership?
Yeah, we've seen Egwene think that Moraine is treating her like on the same level as Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Well, is it something that Moraine just like doesn't even want to be at this stupid board meeting, and she sends someone in her stead?
I don't know. I feel like she's like put Egwene here on purpose. I don't think Moraine does anything just because.
Okay. That's fair.
That's
fair.
not Moraine's style. Like, she's also probably very tired, and that's actually an issue. But no, this seems calculated.
Okay. I like that.
Then Rand asks about the Shido, if they're wise ones at the meeting too. And at this point, I think to myself, oh my god, Rand doesn't know anything. Rand literally knows nothing.
Yeah, he doesn't know. Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't know about anything.
Yeah, he knows that they won.
And that's it.
But that's it. Yeah.
And so Avienda says, okay, well, here's all the stuff that happened. Basically, the Shadow are done. The fighting's all died down. Prisoners, this, that. And the bulk of Cúldain's people have crossed the river. Blah, blah, blah. They destroyed bridges.
I will point out that she doesn't really answer the question about the wise ones from the Shido.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That we don't find out.
Okay.
It's just mentioned that there's because he specifically asks, like, hey, are the Shido wise ones...
prisoners, perhaps?
Or are wise ones,
dead?
Do they get taken prisoner? Do they kill wise ones? Like, what's
going on? Do the wise ones
on?
run off too?
Do they run off with the Shido? Who knows?
Oh, no. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So, a lot of Cúldain's people, what I was saying was cross the river, carrying a lot of Cairhienin prisoners with them, and then they destroyed the bridges behind them.
Yeah. And the Aiel don't care. Like, Rand's Aiel don't care about the Cairhienin prisoners because they're Cairhienin, so who cares?
Right. So now, those Shido who cross the river, are they just gonna, like, hang out across the river?
We don't know what they're going to do.
Or are they going to go cause more havoc in Randland?
That's why Rand is concerned, because right now they're basically above Cairhien over the river.
Yeah.
And the only thing north of there is like Tar Valon is like northwest.
Yeah.
And then it's the borderlands. So they're kind of in this weird position where they're over this river.
Yeah.
And it's like, what are they going to do?
Are they going to go storm Tar Valon? Like, that sounds wildly crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of space where they could not do that. But where do they go?
They could also go back to the Jengai Pass and go back to the waste.
They could literally go back to the waste.
Yeah.
It's like, see you later, guys.
Could, but shan't.
Yeah.
So Avienda relays all the information and then casually tosses in the fact, peppers it in.
Super cash.
That Matt killed Cúldain.
Yeah.
And Rand is super incredulous. Like, what the fuck? Are you sure Matt?
Yeah.
Matt killed Cúldain?
Good for Matt.
And then Asmodean comments that Matt is a young man with many surprises, and he's looking forward to meeting Perrin.
Oh, nice.
Because they're all very surprising.
He just wants to see what's going on here with like 3 Ta'veren.
Yeah, it's a big deal. So then Rand thinks that Matt did not escape the pattern's weavings after all, and he knows Matt must be pissed.
Yes. And that's the whole thing we were talking about. It's like
Rand knows Matt so well.
well, and Rand is like understanding the pattern a little bit more because the pattern let Matt say, "Hey, I need to go," because Matt needed to leave where he was with the camp to go off and kill Couladin for this battle.
And Rand let him go, and it was great.
Yeah. But now he's back. So it's
now
like,
he's back.
Now you can't go anywhere.
Now you can't go again. So Rand then focuses on like the most important part here, and it's Samael.
Yes.
So he remembers Samael's old-timey name.
Tel Jenen Aelensar.
Sure. So plus the fact that Rand has been unconscious for a while now, and Samael either didn't try to find him or hasn't found him.
Yeah.
And Rand thinks that Samael is going to need to pay in full for every maiden he has killed.
Yes. Okay.
But he can't just go chasing after Samael just yet. And that's when I thought, okay, this trap didn't work.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about, because we know the plan of those four Forsaken working together was goad Rand into going after Samael, and then while he attacks Samael, the three are going to link and attack him. So was everything just like little tidbits trying to pick at Rand until he like took off to Ilion?
Yeah, I think that probably this whole thing with the lightning strike on the tower was to kill like Aviendha and Egwene.
That's what I was going to ask, because we know that side plan is like someone close to Rand has to die. And if it was successful, and like if Egwene or Aviendha did die on the tower, like straight up just like dead right then and there, Rand may have been pissed enough to go and like jump to find Samael.
It's possible.
Okay.
I think he was pissed enough that the maidens are dead.
Yeah.
That he knows that he has to take revenge on Samael, but...
So does someone still need to die?
Maybe.
Okay.
I think that Lanfear truly just wanted Aviendha and Egwene both dead because they're women who are in Rand's life.
Okay.
So,
sure.
I don't know. So whether or not this is Ravine or Samael doesn't really matter to me.
It doesn't.
Right
It's one
now.
of the collective.
So like you could have me make a prediction if you want, but I just feel like it doesn't matter because it's the Alliance.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And the plan didn't work.
And like Samael literally could be in Camelin through the gateway like
who
before,
knows? You could just like...
But yeah. Rand still knows it's Samael even though it came from the west. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Okay. It's probably Samael. It's the Alliance. It's not like some other Forsaken.
No, I get that. It's the Alliance. It's just like the plan didn't work, so they're going to have to keep trying something else.
Maybe, unless they think that the plan worked. Like, how soon does Rand have to go after them for them to be like, oh, plan didn't work?
Immediately.
Okay, well then plan didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like you almost killed Rand too.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he wanted to do.
Maybe.
Okay. Anyway, so Rand says it's time for him to go to Cairhien, like the city. And Aviendha tries to deflect him because he's like really weak, really tired, needs to rest, absolutely should not be riding a horse to Cairhien right now.
Yeah.
And Rand wants to know why Milan isn't here right now, or like, is he even still alive?
And this is big because Rand also doesn't know any of this information.
Right.
We just learned it from Matt.
Yeah. And so Asmodean starts talking about stuff that he's like not supposed to mention.
Yeah.
And Aviendha is like, he needs to rest. He's not supposed to know this. And Rand is like, I'll rest when I'm dead. So there's that.
Yeah.
So Asmodean relays the story to Rand about how the High Lords came to talk to him.
Yeah. So long story short here. So when Rand sent the High Lords from Tyr to Cairhien, he sent the 6 High Lords.
Who were like plotting to kill him.
Yeah, there was like 6 of them, and then Mylan was supposed to be in charge of them.
Yeah.
And then it was all supposed to be financed by Torian, which is the rich dude, which is Estien's daddy.
Yes.
And Estien is the guy who's like Matt's buddy now.
Yes.
Okay.
So it turns out everyone was on edge, and they weren't allowed to go see Rand. And nobody was happy about that. And then before leaving, Milan, the High Lord, shouted his allegiance and fealty to Rand and says, I make a gift of Cairhien to the Lord Dragon.
Yeah, and this is super important because Mylan got sent to Cairhien by Rand to go and help out.
Yes,
and
so
now
Not yours to give,
Exactly,
buddy.
exactly. Because Mylan's now like, hey, I'm giving you Kyrian. You're welcome. But Rand is thinking to himself,
I took it myself, asshole.
it's mine anyways. It's not yours to begin with. So you can't give it to me.
Yeah. And so nobody trusts these guys, Rand especially. And he even says there's a saying in the Two Rivers, the louder a man tells you he's honest, the harder you must hold on to your purse. And then he thinks that Kyrian is his without him giving it to him.
Yeah, and now we got more important plot points for the politics.
Okay,
so first off, we've established Kyrian isn't a gift for Mylan to give because it's Rand's. By basically right of conquest is what we're going with right now.
Absolutely.
So...
Well, and also it's civil war, which Rand sort of just put an end to.
Yeah. And then all these High Lords are here in the first place because of the fact that they were plotting against Rand, so Rand doesn't trust them.
Them here, yeah.
The big issue is that Rand sent them here. He obviously didn't know that the whole Aiel thing was going to happen, and then Cúlin was going to lead them back to Kyrian, and then he'd be here to conquer the city.
Rand did have Kyrian in his plan.
He did. He just didn't know it was going to be under an Aiel attack is why he's here now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that is tough. And then also we get that Mylan wants to be the king of Kyrian, but subject to Rand. So Mylan is super eager about being in control.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to control Kyrian in your place, Rand.
Yes. Yeah. That's not going to work either.
No. Asmodean also mentions that 2 of the Kyrian nobles.
Yep.
Some names I don't know.
Dobrain and Colavir.
Okay, we're talking a lot about the Game of Houses and stuff, and Asmodean basically thinks that they are also trying to offer Rand the Sun Throne.
Yeah, so
this is the Sun Throne different, or the King of Kyrian is the Sun Throne?
Well, number one, there is no King of Kyrian.
Right.
There's no leader in Kyrian right now. There's no formal leadership. We have Rand sending in all the High Lords saying, hey, Mylan's in charge of you and the 6 other High Lords of Tyr.
Feed people,
get this civil war crap under control. And then we've got all the houses of Kyrian who are battling to try to take the Sun Throne too. So the issue is that now we've got Mylan, the 6 High Lords, all the powerful lords and ladies of Kyrian who are all now saying, hey, Rand, we'll give you the Sun Throne. But none of them are in control of the throne.
To give it. Rand's I literally took it. You can't give it to me.
Exactly. And then that's when we get a recap that Rand thinks to himself, I already have someone in mind who's going to sit here and they deserve it.
Okay, now listen, not just anybody.
Yeah.
He means the Sun Throne for someone who has a right to it.
Yeah.
Which is different than what he said before.
It's a little more exact.
It is, because before he was I know who I want to sit on the Sun Throne.
Yes, before.
And that's it.
And that was in chapter 21.
I don't know, Elaine or something. I literally threw that out. That was my prediction.
Okay.
In case you forgot.
Well, that was the same chapter when he sent all the lords, that was the Tyr meeting.
Right. So now my prediction has shifted slightly.
Okay.
Because I think someone who has a right to it.
Sure.
It depends where Rand's head is at, where, what does that mean?
Okay.
So the last person who was on the throne was a Damodred? No, that's the Forsaken, right? No. Demandred.
Okay, hold on. So Barthanes Damodred.
Yeah, not the...
Was the Dark Friend.
Yes.
He's the one who got chopped up into itty bitty bits.
We know that. He was the second most powerful.
Yep. He was second most because Galdrian Riotin was the king, and basically they swapped because Lamin did such a terrible job.
But Lamin was a
Damodred.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the Forsaken's name?
Demandred.
Okay.
Not Damodred.
Damodred. Now listen, there is a Moraine Damodred.
Yeah.
And there is a Galadriel Damodred. What's his name?
Galadadrid.
Galadadrid.
Damodred. Not to be confused with Demandred.
Okay. So those are the 2 I can think of who have a right to it.
By the last name.
Of
Damodred.
Yeah. And do you think Galad or Moraine wants to sit on the Sun Throne?
Do you think that?
No.
Where are you going with this?
That's all. Literally nowhere.
Okay.
It's a cul-de-sac.
It was a dead-end street. We're just turning around. We're going to go back out of this little... I saw the sign. I still went in there. I still made the turn. Yeah. It's happening.
I saw that, and that's the only thing I can think of.
Do we know any other Riotins?
Nope.
No. Okay, who else? Who else has a right to it?
That's it.
Okay.
That I know of.
Sure. It's Moraine's sister.
Someone he met at the party.
Who is it? It's Michael Scott.
Yeah. Someone you all know and love. Okay, no, that's all I got for you.
I don't even know. I thought you were going somewhere with that. I was like,
it.
okay, where's she? Yeah, just like, no. Okay.
I was hoping that you would like help me get there.
Yeah, no. This is on you. This one's completely, like, I can't help you with this one.
No, I'm going to go back to Elaine because that's more fun for
It's me. It's myself. I deserve
I have
it.
a right to it. No idea.
So, but not Rand. Rand doesn't want to sit on this one.
Unless Rand read something in a book.
Oh, okay.
And has some idea of something.
Okay.
Something. He might talk to Moraine. Because Moraine's been giving him lots of information too, right?
Yeah.
She's been teaching him everything about Kyrian. So I think maybe it might be someone...
okay.
It might be someone like we don't know.
Sure.
Or someone we don't know who has a right to it.
Yeah. Gendry. It's Gendry.
Who's Gendry? Oh, from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. It's like the blacksmith guy.
Yeah, the bastard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rude.
Anyway, so this... I didn't make it up.
Hey.
So this ends with Rand finding out that they mean to give him a parade.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I don't want a parade. So, no thanks. But he needs to figure things out before this parade happens. So he's going to need his horse. And he's like, oh, this is why Avienda let me just talk here. It's because she means to keep me here. So we're done talking.
We're going to go. We're going to do
Go get my horse. And Avienda's like, no. And Asmodean's like, I serve the Lord Dragon. Even though he's definitely too weak to ride, he's going to try anyway. Rand wants to head there without warning, so he doesn't get involved in this parade.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically.
So it's kind of interesting because we've had so much build-up for like a while now about this whole Kyrian battle. This is the showdown. Aiel versus Aiel. You know, all this stuff.
And I was like, Couladin's not going to die. I want him to die, but he's not going to. And so
it's
I'm
going to last forever. And it's going to...
I feel like last episode I got so many things right that I got a little bit of a big head.
Yep.
And this I got...
You're just like, oof.
And I'm cool with it because I wanted him murdered.
My favorite was when you were like, Couladin's not going to die.
Yeah. And it's going to drag on for books and books.
That's why I was asking questions like, oh, hey, if he does die, who's going to kill him?
Did I ever answer that?
I don't think you ever said Matt.
No, I did not. I did not. I don't win any points here, that's for sure.
Here's the question. What do we do with the rest of this book?
Yeah, we got to go back to the circus.
Okay.
For sure.
Got to get them out of the circus? Or they got to leave?
Yeah, they got to leave the circus for sure.
Get out of here, so...
I do think that we're going to get a little bit more with the whole Min, Gareth Bryn,
like
Swan,
in
Saladar situation.
Okay, like a little bit more?
Now, I don't know if the women are for sure going to get to Saladar.
Okay, at some point.
But I don't know if it's this book.
That's fair.
Because we don't have that much left.
Yeah. Like, we really actually don't have very much left.
So, I do think we're getting to Saladar. I don't know if it's happening now. And I would like a more gaze wrap-up.
Is she still alive?
Yeah.
Did she get to, find out that...
Is she uncompelled?
Bryn is gone and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening in the tower with Pat and Fane?
Well, he left.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what happened there?
Oh, okay.
Because he took his dagger and took off. Where is he now?
Right.
Like, there's that situation.
Okay.
We'll find out in the next prologue, probably.
No, that's fair.
That's where he shows up and does shit. Yeah. So, okay, I think that's good for these chapters. Unless you wanted to talk about anything else.
No, I think we covered...
We sort of talked about the Sandmail stuff, I think, enough.
Yeah.
It's all going.
Let's just, keep reading and we'll talk more about it next time.
Okay, so we did talk about this last time, but next episode, we are covering only chapter 46.
Yes, one chapter.
Here's the thing, the warning, the announcement.
I don't know what the announcement is. What's the announcement?
That we're only doing chapter 46.
Oh, that was it. Okay.
That's the announcement.
Okay, it's one chapter, and then we're back to 2.
And then we're back to 2, and then I think we're to 1 and 1, and then...
We're going to split it up.
Split it up.
Like 1 and 1, and then we're going to do 2, 2, 2, and then we're done.
Yeah, right now we're at the end of July, and this doesn't come out till August sometime, so I'll definitely make sure to have that on our social media as an announcement for what's going on.
Like if you're reading along and you really care about what chapters we're covering, we got to separate it for the number of pages so we can actually record in a reasonable amount of time.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, and I do think that we are headed out on another road trip soon. That's why we're so far ahead right now.
We'll be back before this comes up probably or something.
I think this comes out while we're
Ooh.
away.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be on vacation
Very
right now. Fun times.
You gotta get some new shot glasses.
From Saskatoon?
Yeah, whichever tiny town we go to. It's gonna be great.
Oh, okay. Maybe some random...
Yeah. We'll see what's out there.
Gas stations or something?
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. And so before you accidentally run into your nemesis, accidentally kill him, his head ends up on a pole, just so that your buddy can rule another country, I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Danny and Brett, edited by Danny, produced by Danny and Brett with Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Yanis, Megan Smiley, and Jonathan Reese. With music by Audionautics. If you're interested in supporting us and the podcast, you can head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. And for all things The Wheel Weaves, like how to get in contact with us, how to find our social media, how to join our Discord, how to send us really cool shot glasses, and for just general information, you can find us at thewheelweavespodcast.com. And as always, please remember to tell a friend about us, leave that 5-star review, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for sticking around to the end. This is really part of the pattern now.